What is up, everybody? Welcome back to racenews.com and welcome back to another one of our previews. Let's go to Colonial Downs. Yes, Colonial Downs is running the Virginia Derby this year. It is a Kentucky Derby prep race. I mean, they run it every year, but it's usually on the turf. Now it's on the dirt. Now it's worth 50 points to the winner towards the Kentucky Derby. Field of 10, possibly. We'll talk about that in a second as I bring it up on the screen now. Here it is for you. Field of 10. There is the Virginia Derby. Look, I love when like Tampa has the Tampa Bay Derby and the Colonial with Virginia Derby, even Sun with Sunland Derby. It's fun. Look, I get it. Like the big tracks, that's the big days, and they should be. But these little tracks getting their moment in the sun, that's always fun for me. Field of 10, like I said, it might be a field of 9. I want to go with I'm going to skip calling card for just a second. I'm going to go with number 2, John Hancock, as we start our, kind of our descent down the field here and pick the winner. Here's the deal. John Hancock is entered into this race. If he runs in this race, I think he's a single. I think he looks very, very good. We'll talk about him right now. Owen Almighty, a horse that John Hancock was able to fend off and defeat in the Sam F. Davis. Owen Almighty came back to romp in the Tampa Bay Derby, so that makes John Hancock look even better than he already did. Numbers-wise, he matches up really good with this field as well. So I feel like John Hancock is a single, and my top pick for sure is John Hancock if he's in. I'm highly, highly skeptical that he's actually going to run in this race. Brad Cox has been quoted saying the Louisiana Derby was kind of where he saw this horse going. Also, I just think it's odd that Mike Smith was named as jockey instead of Flavian Pratt. Flavian Pratt is on a horse that just broke his maiden at Oaklawn, the number 7 Rapture, who we'll talk about in a second. So, Mike Smith has rode for Brad Cox once in the last year. So, it's just kind of odd that he's entered and Mike Smith is riding. I just don't think John Hancock is really going to run here. I think Flavian Pratt would have been named on him if he was, but I don't know that for sure. So I kind of got to do 2 different previews. And again, I'll just state it again. If John Hancock is in, I'm picking him to win the race. Now, let's go through the other 9 horses and pretend John Hancock is not in the race, okay? And sorry, this is the best way I know how to do it, because everything I had been told and everything I heard, John Hancock was not going to run in this race. And then he enters and I'm like, okay, well, maybe he is. And then I see the jockey and it's like, I don't know, maybe he's not. So I don't want to do a whole video and say, yeah, pick the 2 John Hancock to win. And then he scratches. I'm going to try to do both here, try to cover both. So let's go to the number 1 calling card as we go through the other horses in the race. Don't have a lot of interest in calling card. This horse, since leaving New York Bred Company, just hasn't been all that great. Lost an allowance at Oaklawn, lost the Lecomte by Open Links, and then lost the Gotham by Open Links again. So nothing for me on calling card. Stretching out a distance, I don't know about that either for this horse. So don't like him too much at all. Talked about the 2 John Hancock. How about the 3 American Promise? A really sharp maiden special weight win, 3 races back right there at Oaklawn Park. But the Southwest kind of was beaten pretty soundly, and then the Risen Star beaten soundly again. So it's a weaker race this time, but I'm just skeptical of the talent level of American Promise. He's another one I just didn't have a ton of interest in. What about the number 4, Omaha? This is a horse that is kind of at times there in New York, kind of people thought he might win. Last time out, he was 3rd, beating 8 3/4 in the Withers. He did go this distance, so he does have a race over this distance of 1 1/8 miles. So that kind of helps. I think he's a horse that 1 1/8 miles will be okay for him, but is he good enough? And I just kept saying, I don't think that he is. So, broken record as we get going on the 3 horses I think are going to actually run. I just didn't like him that well. Now, can Omaha jump up, get a piece of things, hit the board? Absolutely. Do I think he can actually win? I'm just skeptical of that. All right. Let's keep going with the number 5, Studley Do Right. Studley Do Right, a horse that's kind of been everywhere, right? He's been running in a whole lot of different places in stakes races. 2 for 2 to start his career. He did win a stakes at Belmont at the Big A later on in his career as well. But when trying tougher competition, it really hasn't worked out. He was 5th, beaten 10 3/4 last time out at Turfway Park. They tried the synthetic in the John Battaglia. At Aqueduct, he tried it out in the Jerome, and he was 4th, beaten 6 3/4. I think this horse now going 1 1/8 miles is kind of bred to do it. But again, I'm not sure the talent level. And I think that's the main problem with the 5, Studley Do Right. Let's go to the 6, Getaway Car. And I thought he proved a lot last time out in the Sunland Derby. Of course, this is a horse that started off his career looking very good, going one turn for Bob Baffert. Started to stretch out in distance, got fourth in the Del Mar Futurity, then went 2 turns and got beat by Citizen Bull in the American Pharoah, got beat by Citizen Bull Gaming, Hill Road in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, beat by Journalism in the Los Alamitos Futurity. You look back now and it's like when he's lost, these horses are pretty good that's been able to beat him once he stretched out to 2 turns. Citizen Bull twice, Gaming, okay. At one time, Gaming was a decent horse. Hill Road, I still think he's okay. Journalism, number 1 on my Derby list. So interesting, right? Him and Caldera had a throwdown in the Sunland Derby. Getaway Car was able to hold on and win. Now we stretch out to a 1 1/8, and I think that's going to be the big question mark. 1 1/8, can he hold on again? The pace looks like it should be fairly hot up front, so that's a little bit of a concern as well. But we'll see what happens with Getaway Car as we try to go 1 1/8, and can he hold on again? That's going to be the big question mark. The number 7 is Rapture. This horse coming in, like I said, gets Flavian Pratt and won a maiden special weight at Oaklawn really impressively in his last start. On debut, he ran second to a horse named Vassimo. Vassimo came back to win an allowance, and then he ran 4th in a prep race. So he's a decent horse. Came right up next to Vassimo and just couldn't get by him. But I think this time he'll when he stretched out and he looked better, and I think he might even get better in this spot. I know this is kind of the spot they've been hoping to run him, so I think I like that as well. So look out for Rapture here. Like I said, gets Pratt aboard. So we'll see if Rapture can improve going 1 1/8. Pedigree says probably will. Let's go to the number 8, Authentic Gallop. This horse has been pretty solid. Winner of 2 of the last 3, including an allowance race at Oaklawn last time out. Pretty impressive fashion, I thought, winning that allowance race. Looked like he was in a little bit of deep water, but started hitting his best stride late, going 1 1/16. That's his chance here as they stretch out. If he improves, I think he might pick up some pieces. I don't know that he can actually win the race, but he might be one that projects to be better going longer. He's going to have to be. He needs to get a little bit better, but I think he's within the realm here. I wouldn't be shocked if he can jump up and maybe get third. I'm not sure if he's good enough to actually win it. The number 9 is Render Judgment. Kenny McPeak brings this horse in, and I kind of came into this season thinking, yeah, Render Judgment might be okay. Only 1 race so far as a 3-year-old. It came in the Risen Star, and it was a disaster. 8th, beaten 19 1/4. We'll see here, though. I do think the stretch out's going to help a little bit, but he ran 1 1/8 last time, and it didn't work out. It's an easier field. Second as a 3-year-old maybe improves, but he just wasn't for me. I could not get there with him. And then finally, the number 10 is Georgia Magic. This is a horse that broke the maiden at Aqueduct on debut. Ran at Aqueduct next time out in a stakes race. That was the Jerome Stakes, and finished 6th, beaten 26. Didn't fire. Came back in allowance last time out, 4th, beat 8.5. I don't see it. I going to be a big form reversal if this horse has any chance in this spot. So that's the field of 10 for the Virginia Derby. Again, I'll go back and say number 2, John Hancock, is my top pick if he runs, and I think it's a big if. But if he runs, I do think he is almost a single, as I probably would be a single. I think he's a standout in this race. With him out, I really think, this is kind of going to be a chalky race between the 6 Getaway Car and the 7 Rapture. I went number 7 Rapture on top to win this race. I just kind of feel like stretching out to 1 1/8 might be better for Rapture than it is for Getaway Car. I think it's going to be interesting down the stretch between these two. But I think number 7 Rapture, Flavian Pratt aboard for the 2nd straight race. I think he's going to get the job done this time around in a race I know they've been pointing for ever since he broke his maiden. So give me number 7 Rapture to win the Virginia Derby. All right, guys, hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. Most importantly, good luck if you're playing Colonial Downs on Saturday.